This meeting is being recorded.
All right. Good morning, everyone. It is Tuesday, January 20th. We'll call the Wright County Board of Commissioners to order. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'm glad to see so many people here on this super frigid morning, and it sounds like it's only going to get colder as the week goes on. I think we're going to try to shoot for maybe a 25, 30 below day here coming up. So everybody stay warm. But with that being said, we are very privileged here today. We have a celebrity in our midst here today. I do want to bring forward and introduce the Princess K of the Milky Way, Mallory Thorson. Thank you for coming today.
So it's weird not facing all of you guys, so I apologize. Thank you guys so much for having me here today. It's a complete honor to come back into this building. I've been in this building many times, one to renew my driver's license and multiple times because my aunt actually works with the county, so I have a little in here to say the least. And so I just want to thank you all so much for always being an advocate for agriculture in the position that you stand in. My term is only a year and yours, you last how many, like 8 years, 10 years, 12 years, however long you serve. And each and every single year you guys have dedicated towards agriculture and in the county. So as I've been coming to and from college, there's nothing truly better than being home and being in a county that supports agriculture and the future generation like me. So I just want to thank you all again for allowing me to come here today, say a few words to you, but then also just thank you so much for supporting agriculture and in our great county, Wright County. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
Well, Mallory, we have a few things here. We have, first of all, I want to share a video that we have from Representative Tom Emmer that we'd like to share with you that him and his staff would like to share.
Congressman Tom Emmer here. I hope you're all having a great start to the new year. I especially want to recognize one of Wright County's very own, Mallory Thorson, for her tremendous accomplishment of being crowned the 72nd Princess K of the Milky Way. As a 6th-generation dairy farmer and current dairy production student at South Dakota State University, I can think of no one better suited to represent Minnesota's dairy industry than Mallory. On behalf of Minnesota's 6th Congressional District, I want to thank you, Mallory, for everything you have done and that you are doing to serve such a critical sector of our state. Minnesota dairy farmers are some of the hardest working people in Minnesota and across the country. And you are all crucial to the success of not only our entire state, but our nation. We're so proud of what you've accomplished and appreciate everything you are doing to promote the dairy industry. Congratulations, Mallory.
That was very nice. Thank you.
Mallory, it is such an honor to have someone like you, an individual here from Wright County, representing dairy farmers across the state of Minnesota. We are honored to have you here today. We are honored that you are a citizen of Wright County. And with that, we would like to pass a resolution making today Mallory Thorson Princess K of the Milky Way Day here in Wright County as January 2026. I would ask that a board member make that motion.
So moved. Second.
A motion by Commissioner Dietrich, second by Commissioner Holland. Any discussion? Hearing no. Resolution vote. Commissioner Moyna.
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Thank
Resolution
you.
passes unanimous.
Thank you.
Congratulations, and thank you so
you.
much for coming here today and visiting with us. We are very proud of you.
Thank you so much. Again, it's a complete humble honor I do this for the dairy farmers and not for my own self-entitlement by any means. And so to have a special day kind of seems like I have a little bit of an ego here, which is not the truth. But I want to thank you so much for recognizing the dedication and the hours that I put in to represent not only Wright County, but the dairy farmers of Minnesota. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Kreiser, just for the record, could you read that resolution?
Yes, Mr. Chair, Commissioner Moyna. Resolution declaring Mallory Thorson Princess K of the Milky Way Day in Wright County, Minnesota. Whereas the Princess K of the Milky Way program established in 1954 celebrates the contributions of Minnesota's dairy farm families and promotes the importance of the dairy industry to our state and local economy. And whereas the Princess K of the Milky Way serves as an ambassador for Minnesota's dairy farmers, educating the public about the role of dairy farming in providing wholesome, nutritious dairy products to families across the state and beyond. And whereas Mallory Thorson, resident of Waverly, Minnesota, has been selected as the 2025 Princess K of the Milky Way, proudly representing the hardworking dairy producers of Minnesota and exemplifying leadership, community service, and agricultural advocacy. And whereas the dairy industry contributes significantly to the economy of Wright County and the state of Minnesota, supporting thousands of jobs, sustaining family farms, and strengthening our rural communities. And whereas the achievements of Princess Mallory Thorson reflect positively on the residents of Wright County and highlight the county's rich agricultural heritage and commitment to supporting local farm families. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Wright County Board of Commissioners hereby proclaims January 20th, 2026 as Mallory Thorson Princess K of the Milky Way Day in Wright County, Minnesota, and encourages residents to join in recognizing the accomplishments of Princess Mallory Thorson and the importance of the dairy industry to our county and our state.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much,
you.
and enjoy your Wright County Milky Way Day here in Wright County.
Thank you.
Thank
I
you,
will.
Mallory.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're proud of you.
All right, now moving on with the agenda, we have the minutes from January 6th. I will stand for any modifications or motion for approval.
So moved.
All right.
I'll second.
Motion by Commissioner Shane, second by Commissioner Holland. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, motion passed unanimous. Next, today's agenda. Does anyone like to remove anything from today's agenda for further discussion?
Mr. Chair, I believe there was going to be some discussion on consent agenda item B5, the approval of the opioid settlement advisory council bylaws. And I think that would probably be best suited to move down to items for consideration, probably as administrative item 3.
All right. So moving B5 from the consent agenda to items for consideration. All right.
A5, yeah. B5 from the consent to A3, items for consideration.
All right. All righty, perfect. We'll stand for a motion with the modification.
So moved.
All right, motion by Commissioner Moyna, second
I'll second that.
by Commissioner Holland. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, motion passes unanimous. Today's consent agenda. Would anyone like to remove anything from today's consent agenda for further discussion?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent
All
agenda.
right, motion by Commissioner Dietrich. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Moyna. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Consent agenda is approved unanimous. Now on to our timed agenda items. Finance Director Lindsay Meyer, adopting Resolution 26-8.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. Before you is a request to adopt Resolution 26-8 to administer special assessments related to the PACE program, which is the Property Assessed Clean Energy Program that we have entered into a joint powers agreement with the St. Paul Port Authority for a tax administration of their loan program.
This is, we've done this before in the past, so this isn't anything new. Board members, is there any questions? Otherwise, I will stand for a motion.
Motion to approve Resolution 26-8.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Moyna, second by Commissioner Holland to approve Resolution 26-8 regarding special assessments. Any discussion? Hearing none. All right, resolution vote. Commissioner Shane?
Aye.
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 Resolution passes unanimous. Thank you. On to our next timed agenda item, we have Matt Detchen. It is good to see you, Matt, on this cold morning. Looking to schedule some public hearings.
Yep. Yeah, we got one on the agenda for today. County Ditch number 23. It's the reestablishment of records pursuant to Minnesota Statute 103E 101. I did provide a tentative date that works for our engineer. It would be March 10th at 2 p.m.
Is that a 2? I can't be there. But I don't know.
I'm just checking my schedule.
Board, that is a workshop day.
Does it work for the majority as long as we can get 3, preferably 4 here? Kirby, you good?
Make it work.
All right.
I can.
Tina is good. I'm good. All right, we're good. All right. With that, I'll stand for a motion to set March 10th at 2 p.m. The public or hearing for the reestablishment of records on County Ditch 23. Do I have a
So moved.
motion by Commissioner Shane?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Moyna. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, motion passed unanimous. Thank you. All right, we're a little too early for our public hearing. We'll move on to items for consideration. And next would be adopting Resolution 26-7, requesting variance from the Minnesota Rules and State Aid Operation Designs, what is it?
Yes,
Design
Mr. Chair, this-
standards for Chatham Township.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, this is really just a cleanup on a comment that we received from MnDOT, just removing 2 words from a resolution that was previously adopted in September. So just a cleanup to help out MnDOT to get this project approved and done.
I'll make a motion to approve that.
All right, motion by Commissioner Dietrich,
Second.
second by Commissioner Moyna. Any discussion? Hearing none, resolution vote. I vote aye.
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 Resolution passes unanimous. Thank you. Next, we have the adopt resolution 2610, which is required every year. There's an election year to set minimum salaries for elected officials for the county sheriff's office and for the county attorney's position, which is required by law to do so.
That's correct, Mr. Chair. This is a statutory requirement that we have to do every time our county attorney and county sheriff are up for an election in a year. So statute requires it be done in January. So here we are in January.
Mr. Chair, is the amount statutorily set? Or
No, we have to
it?
set the minimum salary.
Minimum.
Yep.
Okay.
So it's not necessarily what the person who would be elected to the office would get. It would just state that if somebody came in with minimum qualifications, just out of college, had a post license and was elected sheriff, no experience, this may be what they'd probably get.
Either the threshold. Yep. Thank you.
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution 2610.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Holland,
Second.
second by Commissioner Moyna. Any discussion? Hearing none, resolution vote. Commissioner Holland?
Aye.
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 Aye. Resolution passes unanimous. All right. And we're still ahead of schedule here. We're going to do the committee minutes.
Mr. Chair, we do have item A3, which is the opioids bylaws.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
I believe I
Yeah.
heard from a couple commissioners that they're interested in maybe having further discussion on this item. So I don't know if the board is inclined to either pushing this out to a workshop meeting, which would be in March at this point, or if we could just do a committee of the whole.
I think we should have a committee of the whole on it, just because I hate to push it that far out. Just wanting to go through it all with everybody, so everybody's good on it. With that, looking to see if there's something in the next couple of weeks that we could sit down as a group here to go over the bylaws.
Can we do it after the
Chair, we
workshop?
could maybe do after the 3rd, February 3rd at 10:30.
Yeah, we can do February 3rd at 10:30. That would be a good date.
Actually, Mr. Chair, why don't we make it 10?
Or-
That way we can always meet later.
I won't be here, but I have approval of Paul. Does that matter? I won't be here.
let's see here, otherwise,
February 3rd?
yeah.
February
Oh, yeah,
3rd.
March, I'm.
Yeah, that's what I say. It's a board day, so.
February I'll be here.
Okay, February 3rd, okay.
At 10 o'clock.
At 10 o'clock, yep, February 3rd at 10 a.m. And I'll stand for a motion on that.
So moved.
Second.
All right, motion by Commissioner Shane, second by Commissioner Holland to set a committee of the whole at 10 a.m. on February 3rd at a room to be determined and posted to discuss the opioid council bylaws. Any discussion? Hearing none.
When would, so when's the soonest that they would be able to meet then would be when? March? Because if we're not approving them until, if we're discussing them on the 3rd, we're not approving them until February 17th. I guess I'm just curious why we didn't set something up for either last week to discuss these or today so that we could move them to February 3rd. Because, you know, if they're going to be going through the RFP process again this year, they really should be starting to have those discussions coming up here, if not already. And now we're going to push them out until March before there's notifications of changes that are going on and membership stuff. So I guess Sarah was here to comment on that, but.
Yes, Chairman Betch and Commissioners, I think to answer Commissioner Moyna's question, we likely probably wouldn't be able to meet until March, especially if there's membership changes. Those members that are currently on would want, I don't believe we have anybody that is out of some of the suggested changes that are in draft form don't impact any members, but they may want to withdraw based on some of the changes. If there are additional changes out of committee of the whole, people might want to respond to that. That's correct. So then a meeting would be in March. It does give us, it just delays the timeline to get a RFP out. That's correct.
Which, I mean, looking historically, I mean, not to say that is the best practice. We've been really slow to kind of allocate funds in previous years. This, hence the reason trying to make improvements to this. I'd agree it's not ideally the best situation, but we could try and meet a little bit sooner and get it approved on February 3rd. It would move it a little bit sooner, unless you want to try and do it ad hoc right now.
We had a very robust discussion with the people, with the Sarah and her team, that we feel they were comfortable with and that we feel like the board was comfortable with. So yeah, I don't know what would come out of it, but I don't know what any of the commissioners have like problems with.
I guess I will start off in there because they're trying to prevent the previous actions of the board repeating itself. One of the only areas that I have more contentions with it is that we're going to appoint people to this council that will be advocating at this board, but will not be voting members on that board. And I don't want to have a situation where in the past you are bringing recommendations forward here that the commissioners that sat on there do not support. That hence the reason needing them to be able to be a voting member is important, so that when they bring a recommendation forward, that the two members that sat through it are standing behind it, voted for it, so that they are coming to this room to help advocate for it. I feel like having those members appointed onto that committee and not having a vote on that committee puts us in a position where we could have recommendations coming forward that the board members that sat on there didn't support, in which case puts us back in the situation where we were before, where the county board is turning down their recommendations. And I don't want that to be the case.
Mr. Chair, I also had questioned that, so I appreciate the time that we maybe could. If there is a time that we can maybe push this forward before the 3rd, but Sarah, I'll ask you, how much would this delay everything that's going on? Like, would it be that detrimental to do this? I just feel there was some question in my mind the same way, so.
I have two thoughts, Commissioner Shane. One is if that's the sticking point, that seems like that could be resolved today. My other thought is that it would delay the process a month, which just delays the RFP that much, right? I can explain the perspective and of why that was brought forward, and it was discussed with both Commissioner Moyna and Commissioner Holland, which is they would essentially have two votes, both a vote at the committee and a vote here. And if that's the board's prerogative that they would like them to have two votes, then that is totally acceptable. So.
Once again, it's just to prevent recommendations coming forward that won't pass the board. That's
Correct.
really the key behind it.
We, pardon me, Commissioner, or Chairman Betch, but we also really expressed that we need to hear from both of our commissioner representatives that if something is not the will of the board, that needs to be expressly shared. Because even with two votes, they could be, outvoted. Right. But if something's not going to pass board, that needs to be shared, because why would we move forward for something that's going to fail, right?
Well, and by them actually voting on it, you're putting record that shows those people on there that these two oppose it, and you probably don't want to come into the big room with two nay votes. Whereas if they don't actually take a vote, there may be ambiguity as to where those two commissioners stand on that particular grant.
I see your perspective as well. Absolutely.
If that's the only change, can we do that now?
Mr. Chair, we can make that change. There is a motion on the floor, though, right now for sending this to a committee of the whole.
Was there other issues that people had?
That's the only particular one that I have.
Because as to Sarah's point, yes, since it would be Commissioner Holland and myself, we would both technically have two votes. And I mean, to say that, as she pointed out, we could be outvoted on something, which would be their prerogative, and we're right back where we were 5-6 months ago when this all kind of started. And on the other side of it, we have two commissioners that are there to voice the potential displeasure of things that are going on, which is why I was comfortable not having a vote and a decision that was made, because neither of us, I don't think, have a problem standing up and saying, hey, this isn't going to work. This isn't what we're looking for, and to really molding things to that way. I mean, if that is the absolute selling point to get 3 votes to pass this right now, then that's fine. We can do that. But I felt there was an unnecessary layer that would be added to it, since we have 2 of us.
I understand the perspective, because I know both Commissioner Holland and Commissioner Moyna, you are both well in articulating your positions. I'm a little bit more concerned on the longevity of it and who may be sitting on there in 2, 4, 6, 8 years from now, and wanting to make sure that we're getting good recommendations that pass the muster of the board going forward. We would first, if there is interest in modifying those bylaws, first of all, we'd have to get the motion makers to remove their motion for the scheduling the committee of the whole, and then a new motion. Otherwise, we can continue forward with the committee of the whole and discuss it at a greater depth on February 3rd. I will stand for a motion on any.
Well, we have one on the floor, so.
As I said, I'll stand for a motion to remove that or to take action on that one. Is there, all right, so I guess we'll go with the February 3rd. All right, since there's a motion on it, is there any other discussion? All right, all in favor of scheduling a committee of the whole on February 3rd at 10 a.m. to discuss the opioid bylaws. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Aye.
You've got 2-2. I got to know where you're at on that one.
To move it forward or not?
Yeah.
To February 3rd?
February 3rd, to schedule a committee of the whole to discuss it more on February 3rd, or to,
That's fine.
you're, all right, so motion passes 3-2. All right, we'll have a discussion on February 3rd at 10 a.m. All right, now moving on to, what time is it? 9:24. We got just a little bit more time. We can get to the Personnel Committee minutes on January 6th. The Personnel Committee met on January 6th with Administrator Kreiser, Sean Johnson, Lindsay Meyer, Clay, myself, and Nadine to discuss the License Center and a backfilling of a position that has become open due to the long lines and the popularity of our DMV here in Wright County. The Personnel Committee agreed to backfilling this position. And with that, I'll look for a motion to approve the recommendations from the Personnel Committee meeting on January 6th.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Dietrich, second by Commissioner Shane. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, motion passes unanimous. And we'll really quickly get through the minutes from the Committee of the Whole. I'm not going to list all the names. We had a great number of people to show up at our Committee of the Whole on January 12th at 9 a.m. to discuss legislative matters. It was a very good, robust discussion. We discussed backyard chickens. We discussed the need for relief in residential property taxes. We discussed at great length the need for IT improvements within Health and Human Services. It was a great meeting, great discussion with our legislators and our Wright County delegation. Hopefully it will be fruitful in this upcoming legislative session. With that, I'll stand for a motion to approve the January 12th Committee of the Whole Legislative Issues meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Shane, second by Commissioner Holland. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, motion passes unanimous. And we are,
Two things that I just wanted to note before we jump into the public hearing. As far as the legislative meeting went, the first one is that after that meeting, Kim had put together, Kim Johnson in HHS, a video of start to relative finish, how the process of them updating someone's income goes using the Maxis system, which for people who don't know, is a system that the state requires counties to use that is from 1989. So it is still a green screen system that is used on Windows 10, 11, 12, whatever we're on now, 17, I have no idea. But whatever the most current Windows is, the application that's used is still from 1989.
The state's system.
Yeah, the state system that they require, so.
Require them to work on this.
So
Ridiculous.
it's just archaic and outdated would be very nice words to use to describe it. So there was a video that was put together of that, and I have seen the video, and I believe I had asked Administrator Kreiser to pass that on to all of the people that were there, as far as the legislators go, as well as any other legislator that may touch Wright County in some way that represents us. The other thing that just kind of wanted to note too, and this has been my favorite talking point over the last couple months, but we had discussion over the DOC commissioner and the open litigation now that the county has with the DOC, well, that they opened against us and the 10th Judicial District. But from discussions we'd had there, all of the legislators, or at least a large majority of them, have already met with the DOC commissioner, as well as there's some legislation that potentially is going to be drafted that could remedy this solution, this problem, and give it a solution in the future. So it's still very ongoing, but just wanted to make a note of those two things.
Thank you for updating us, Commissioner Moyna.
thank you for that information as well. It's unfortunate that, we're going on a program this long. Well, we have another 2 more minutes, so if anybody else wants to share anything from our legislative meeting, which it's been quite an interesting debacle within Health and Human Services at the state level, so.
Mr. Chair, can I just add, just so maybe we have a big room full of people, we do have at Wright County a fraud investigator in HHS, just so you are aware, and that if there are reports or suspect of some fraud happening, we really encourage people to let us know, and we will have that investigated. We have this person for a reason. They've saved us, I think we're close to $500,000 already this year, or in the past year, $2 million. So Wright County is on top of this, but it's a countywide effort, right? You can't know the ins and outs of everything, but we cross our T's and dots our I's, and we work for the people of Wright County hard. So thank you to HHS for investing in that and knowing how important that is to be on top of the fraud. I just think of the billions of dollars that we pay in taxes that is gone. And how that's impacted us probably at least for the last 10 years. And knowing that Wright County has been consistent and been working together with their clients to get the most accurate resources to our families that are in need, but also to catch anything that's fraudulent. So thank you.
Thank you. And now we're perfectly at 9:30. We will begin the public hearing here. At this time, we have a public hearing for the lake improvement districts for Buffalo Lake, Deer Lake, Goose Lake, and Mink Lake. At this time, we'll be inviting individuals that want to come forward and discuss the topic of the Lake Improvement District on the said lakes. If you wish to come forward and speak at this public hearing, please state your name and your city or township of residency, and please keep your comments to less than 3 minutes, and keep it on this topic of the Lake Improvement District and the named lakes. So at this time, if you wish to comment for the record, please step forward to the podium and state your name and your city or township and residency.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Bo Schaefer. I'm a resident of Buffalo. I live on Buffalo Lake. Today, I just want to kick things off with an executive summary of really what the Lake Improvement District is for those of you that don't know. So I'll start with Buffalo Lake has experienced poor water quality for decades due to excessive phosphorus. Federal and state assessments in 1972 and 2005 identified the lake as impaired and warned that meaningful improvement requires controlling phosphorus sources from the watershed. Without a lake improvement district in place, the lake has lacked ongoing monitoring and community involvement needed to secure funding and implement long-term restoration efforts. Community support for action is strong. A 2024 survey found that 88% of Lakeshore residents favor creating a lake improvement district, with water quality, algae blooms as a top concern from the residents. These issues, such as poor clarity, odor, algae mats, and the risk of toxic blooms, are all tied to the elevated phosphorus. Further evidence here, we have the DNR currently giving Buffalo Lake a D for an overall lake health grade. So the proposed LID's primary goal is to reduce phosphorus by addressing both watershed inputs and internal loading. The LID would lead an updated comprehensive study to fill critical data gaps and identify cost-effective solutions. Expanded water sampling has already begun at key inflow and outflow points due to just volunteer efforts from those on the Lake Improvement District Formation Committee and Board. And then our secondary objectives include landowner education, invasive species reduction, promotion of native shoreline buffers, and habitat restoration. Establishing an LID provides the structure, continuity, and community stewardship needed to reverse the ongoing decline and protect buffalo, deer, mink, and goose lake for the future.
Thank you, Bo.
Thank you.
Good morning, Jake Ellery, Buffalo. I'm also going to read from a prepared statement. I'm going to explain the differences between the Lake Association and the LID, just to clarify that. When we first started meeting about Buffalo Lake nearly 3 years ago, we realized there was a need for both a Lake Association and a Lake Improvement District. Central to the thinking was the realization that the synergy between the two organizations would make each one more effective. We officially began the Lake Association first, knowing that the communication and engagement it would provide would help gather the right information for setting the purpose, goals, and methods of the LID. Throughout the process of establishing these organizations, we have been careful to clearly define the roles of each, as there is naturally some confusion amongst the residents who may not be familiar with each type of organization. The Lake Association serves three main purposes: communication amongst the Lakeshore residents and with the community at large, social engagement amongst the residents and community members, and fundraising, both for its own functions and those of the LID. It operates relatively independently of any government agency. The LID, in contrast, has a singular focus of addressing a significant problem facing the chain of lakes and works closely with government agencies. Each organization has separate boards which meet monthly during the summers and every other month during the winters. Information is shared freely between the two organizations through a shared board member and through published agendas and minutes. In its first full year, the Lake Association has been very successful in all three of its purposes. It has completed a comprehensive survey of Lakeshore residents, helping define the goals for the LID. It engages the community through its Facebook page and has held several social events. It has raised starter funds independently without the need for seed money. In the near future, we plan on launching a website shared between the Lake Association and the LID. Pages such as Lake News and a calendar of events will help strengthen the Lake Association's commitment to community engagement. The LID will provide residents an easily accessible wealth of data, including such things as current lake levels with trends and alerts, temperature readings, water clarity measurements, phosphorus pollution levels, and blue-green algae alerts. This will greatly assist the community in enjoying the lakes maximally and safely, and be in line with the LID's goals of promoting economic growth around the lakes while preserving the lake's natural resources.
Thank you, Jake. Would anyone else like to comment for the record?
So I have a statement prepared from another member of the board, Brett Oden. I know I'm maybe up against my 3 minutes. Can I play again?
Fine.
All right.
Who was the individual that you're?
Brett Oden.
Brett.
Dr. Oden.
Okay.
All right.
Yep, go ahead.
Why no tax? Many lakeshore owners request lake improvement districts to be formed for the sole purpose of dealing with nuisance factors in their lake, such as excessive weeds. Understandably, a costly annual maintenance goal such as this is usually most easily funded by tax. The proposed Buffalo chain of lakes Lake Improvement District is different in that it seeks to deal with long-term ecological preservation of the lake. As such, we feel that additional taxation is not the best funding mechanism for our goals for three main reasons. First, the Lake Improvement District concept as defined by the DNR is first and foremost one of an encouraging local involvement over lake management, and many successful LIDs have accomplished their goals without taxation. Both the DNR and MPCA highlight the efforts undertaken to reduce phosphorus in Waverly Lake, resulting in its removal from the impaired water list in 2020, a true success story. Those efforts were funded without any taxation. Secondly, while many see the word grants in our proposal and only think of public funding, we think private funding, which far outweighs public funds. When I set out on a similar aggressive goal of improving health and fitness in Wright County years ago, my grant proposal was immediately funded by a private funder, Barb King of Landscape Structures. While I may not be able to continue to receive these funds, I am fairly confident that the current economic climate has corporations poised to donate to environmental causes. Thirdly, we have done our homework by surveying lakeshore owners through the Buffalo Lake Association. Most all, when asked if they would donate $500 to a project, said yes. When asked if they were to be assessed for $500, they said they would vote no at an annual meeting. This is undoubtedly due to the human trait of being proud of doing good electively versus being told what to do. Many lakeshore residents are worried they may be soon taxed off the lake, as they have seen a disproportionate tax increases in recent years. Mine has increased over 60% in just 5 years. In contrast to those who may argue that we will need to rely on an ad valorem tax, we argue that relying on one tax is a surefire way to not be able to pass any projects at each annual meeting in the future. We admit there will likely be some funding challenges eventually, but have accomplished quite a bit so far. We are currently doing phosphorus testing very economically after being told it was very expensive. It is amazing what volunteer labor can accomplish compared to paid labor. If your son said to you, "Dad, my friend gave me a spare push mower and it fits in my car. Can I start a lawn mowing business?" Would you say, "No, son, you will need a new zero-turn riding lawnmower, a new truck, and a trailer to haul it in order to be successful. So come back and ask me when you have $30,000 in the bank." History tells us that successful enterprises are built on things like passion, dedication, knowledge, hard work, and community support, more so than the amount of initial capital expenditure. Respectfully submitted by Brett Oden, MD.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to comment for the record?
Hello, my name is Mark Ponanen, City of Buffalo resident. I've lived on Buffalo Lake for the past 11 years with my wife and 2 kids. We have really enjoyed everything there is to enjoy about living on a lake. However, we have watched the health of this lake get progressively worse over the years. And the main culprit of this progression, undoubtedly, is excessive phosphorus. It is the single biggest threat to Buffalo and the adjoining lakes, especially as levels continue to increase, leading to waters that are too choked out by weeds to boat on, too unsafe from blue-green algae to swim in, and too deficient in oxygen for fish to survive. The key to understanding this problem and developing the best long-term management plan is a comprehensive professional study. In preparation for designing that study, the LID committee has already been performing some phosphorus testing throughout the summer and fall. We have gained some valuable insights on some point sources. So far, the biggest culprit is the water entering the lake through the culvert near the fountain. It has, on average, 3 times the phosphorus concentration than the normal lake water. A few other sources have 2 times the normal lake water. The good news is that all of these sources flow through a culvert, which would be capable of some sort of filtration. If we can continue to expand upon this with a comprehensive professional study, we are confident that we will be able to develop a management plan that is cost-effective and meet the DNR's goal of reducing phosphorus by 5% and save our lakes from dying. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name's Tom Wright. I live at 145 Alderwood Avenue. Moved to the area from Michigan about 10 years ago. Found a nice home on Buffalo Lake. It was in April, looked out over the lake, and it was beautiful and clear, and it was great. By June, the water had risen about 5 feet, swamped my dock, swamped my lift, but those things happen. By August, the lake turned green. And if you've driven by, you know what it looks like, you know what it smells like. Over the course of the next few years, water periodically went up and down, but every August, the lake turned green. So it's become a problem. In the last 3 years, unfortunately, got to blame somebody, but Pulaski Lake pumps water into Buffalo Lake, and along with it came zebra mussels. Good news and bad news, okay? With zebra mussels, they filter the water, you get a little bit better water clarity. The bad news is, with better water clarity, it stimulates weed growth, and our lakes are warming, better clarity, more weeds. Now with curly pondweed, milfoil, the lake started having some serious weed problems. A couple of years ago, it was getting worse and getting worse. This past year, it was horrible. The far southwest end of the lake was a mad mess of weeds. By our docks, by the lifts, people couldn't even swim. There were property owners that literally couldn't take their boats off their lifts and make it to open water because of the proliferation of the weed mats. So where do we go from here? We know we have a problem. We know we have issues. We finally have a group of concerned property owners that have gotten together. We haven't had an association in the past, but now we have a lid. And we're here today to ask you to help support us and support the community on our lake to try and make the improvements that are really needed. There's an urgency to this right now, because my fear is all of those weeds from last year, they didn't go away. They settled on the bottom. It's fertilizer for this year. And our concerns are that it will be the worst year ever for weeds. So therefore, we ask you to approve our petition, and in the future, work with us and the city and the counties and the townships, along with the DNR and Soil and Water and the rest of the agencies, as we work together, hopefully, to stop the downward spiral that we have in our lake and preserve a real asset for the community. So, thank you all.
Thank you, Tom.
My name is Rick Cantor. I have lived on Buffalo Lake for about 20 years. I live right by the South Public Access on Buffalo Lake. I'm going to echo what Tom and Mark said. In my 20 years, the lake looked decent for 17 of them. The last 2 or 3 years, just epically straight downhill. The weeds 2 years ago were bad. The weeds last year, no really way to describe it. You'd have to walk into the water, and what you would see is weeds from the bottom to the top. The top mat was 6 or 8 inches. You could not drive a boat through it. I would never bring my grandsons out there to swim in it anymore because I think they could drown, because I could barely walk through it. So something is going epically wrong with these lakes, and it's happening at light speed, as Tom said. When I look at it, I'm no expert in this, but I look at all the inflows that are allowed, unrestricted, unfiltered. I see them coming from Mill Creek, the backflowing of the Crow River, the city drainage pipes, Buffalo Heights Golf Course, Wild Marsh to an extent, Lake Pulaski pumps in there. So it's like, we're just feeding the lake constantly with nutrients that are going to cause the kind of problems that we're having. When I read the DNR report, I was kind of surprised at something that I didn't feel like was in there, but maybe I didn't understand it all. But I didn't see that they highlighted what I think is the number one contributor of water, nutrients, runoff, weeds, and it's the backflowing of the Crow River. And Tom talked about his dock being underwater and flooding. Okay, I'm getting sick of how this is happening, where I can't even use my boat because of the massive amount of water that comes in. Okay, I know that's Mother Nature, but I also look at it and I go, all that water is being allowed in there, unfiltered, unrestricted in any way, and I think it's the number one contributor. When that river floods, I need to get my boats or my pontoon sometimes even off the water, because that water is going to come up in 1 week, sometimes 12 to 18 inches. Within 3 weeks, it's going to be up 2 or 3 feet. And when I think about that, it's just, I really think about it in terms of the amount of water and runoff that's coming in, and it floods 4 lakes. Mink Lake, which I am on very frequently, used to be a crystal clear lake. Last year, dingy as could be, filled with weeds. I mean, it was a lake, the kind of lake you could go scuba diving in. It was that clear. It's gone, and it all happened in 2 years. There was talk about the phosphorus. One of the things Dr. Oden's studies showed was that the phosphorus content in Deer Lake is twice that of Buffalo. And, you know, Buffalo's bad, okay? I think that's from the backflowing of the Crow River. I mean, that's the first lake it all hits, and it makes total sense to me that that is probably the number one issue we have. The last thing that I'll comment on before I get to a close, you know, Buffalo is a 1,600 acre lake. There's relatively few shoreline owners on that lake compared to the density that you see in other lakes in the county. And I don't think, it's not possible. I mean, we're orders of magnitude short of residents to do anything significant funding-wise for a lake that size. Go on Mink, there's maybe 5 owners. Deer Lake has very few. All these lakes are kind of suffer from, I don't know if suffer is the right word, but there's not a lot of shoreline owners, okay? I think we need the state, the county, the city, the DNR to help us make decisions and invest in solutions that plague and are destroying these lakes. And I think you can already see there's a bunch of us here ready to work with all the powers that be on this, but I think we're going to need, I'll say, enormous help. It's not possible for the shoreline owners. It's too big. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Mark Hegstrom. I live in the northwest corner of Buffalo Lake behind Mill Creek Inn. I'm just reacting to the comments that were made here today. I don't have a prepared statement. The phosphorus is obviously an issue with the weeds, et cetera. The zebra mussels have gotten out of control. My dock this year was covered with them. I actually sold my boat, sold my dock, because I've been flooded for 3 years. I can't get on and off the lake. Okay? So talking about the inflow from the Crow, that is, to me, that's the major concern. That's the source of most of this phosphorus. That's what causes these flooding levels. We need to control that water level such that then we can get control of the lake. If we don't do that first, nothing else is going to matter. Because every spring, whether it's from the snow, whether it's from the rains that come, when Crow River gets so high, it flows backwards. It flows into Buffalo Lake, flows through Mink, et cetera, into Buffalo Lake. And we've seen levels 3, 4, 5 feet high over a season, okay? So we have to get the control of that first, okay? Then we can deal with these other problems, because it's affecting everybody's property. You know, not only it brings from, you can imagine, we had a meeting a few years ago where the people in Pulaski wanted to pump more water into Buffalo, and they wanted the level to be higher where they could pump in. That issue coming from them, coming from the other inlets, coming from the Crow feeding back, it's just we have to somehow manage that water level as a starting point, because we're talking significant property damage. Okay, you know, like I said, I can't even get in the lake. You know, the docks go underwater. Docks get covered with zebra mussels. The weeds are so thick They said, you can't even walk out there, you know? Can't get your boat through there. Had a pontoon boat with a 115 horse motor on it. I had to have it full speed just to get through the weeds. Okay, it's just not worth the effort. So I think that's the place we need to start. And hopefully this group, which I'm becoming aware of today as a homeowner on Buffalo Lake, hopefully they can work with the lid and we can get something done. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
Well, good morning, Mr. Chair and County Commissioners. So my name is William Lytle. I'm a relatively new resident of the city of Buffalo. Moved here with my family in 2024, and we live, work, and play within the proposed lid. Coincidentally, I own a boutique consulting company, Evergreen International Sustainability Solutions, that specializes in innovation, natural resource policy, and strategic planning. And through that company, I am the administrator of the Lower Minnesota River Watershed District. It's a watershed district that spans 5 metro counties. It was created 65 years ago, and in that founding petition, it was asked, we pray that somebody can help save this river. And we're 65 years on, and we realize that we're entering our 6th next generation watershed management plan, that just the petitions and the planning process don't automatically create the outcomes that we need. We need active, engaged citizens. And so I have some insights from the governance perspective that might be helpful. First, I would like to express gratitude for the county efforts and city efforts to improve access to the lake and lakes that have already been going on, as well as improvements to water quality. I think we should build on that momentum. And I'd like to voice strong support for the creation of the lid. And really thinking about these water bodies as the cornerstone of our local identity, recreation, and property value. But they're going to present growing challenges. I think I don't need to rehash what we've heard, but things that are on the emerging list of things that this group will need to work on in the future. Things like microplastics, pharmaceuticals in the water, freshwater amoebas, prions disease, invasive species. There are things that are just taking foot that we don't have data on yet that we're going to need to figure out how to govern. We really shouldn't think of this as an environmental concern. You know, if it's just the environment, we stepped back, you know, it'll find an equilibrium to some degree, but we might not really be part of that. We really need to think about it as an investment in the future of the community and turning a liability into one of our community's greatest assets. You know, we can imagine marinas, cafes overlooking the water, and more waterfront events. It's a choice that we can make. And my recommendations would be to consider defining the boundary based off of the real watershed connections. The lid, in my opinion, should include all catchments as defined by the National Hydrography Data Site that drain into Buffalo, Mink, Goose, or Deer Lake, excluding those that are already covered by other lake improvement districts within the Mill Creek Huck 12 watershed, sub-watershed. This more accurate flow-based boundary would recognize the true source of nutrients, sediment, floodwater beyond the immediate lakeshore parcels, but it would also share some of the potential positive outcomes with that group that kind of could co-own some of the futures. The next recommendation would be to give this effort room to evolve. So this lid is in its really early stages. You know, we have a little bit of data. The collaborative approach with the BLA is very important, but the county and lid should remain open to future funding mechanisms. I don't necessarily think that ad valorem taxing authority is the appropriate approach here, but I was looking at the statutes, and you have the ability to issue things like a use or impact-based charges, which could be used to incentivize best management plan or practice adoption. So essentially, you make the water dirtier, you pay for it, and if you make the water cleaner, you get paid for it. These may become essential in the years ahead as solutions are developed and refined for emerging concerns. Now is the time to set the stage for those decisions and not close the doors to them. And then I think this is already happening, but that the efforts complement but don't duplicate existing watershed planning, DNR efforts, or administrative capacity. We're part of a One Watershed, One Plan. Looking into that plan last night, there's a lot of room for enhancement and a lot of ways that this group could advocate to really downscale some of those efforts and improve them. So in summary, I think buffalo, deer, goose, and mink lakes are part of a complex interconnected system with regional impacts. Establishing a lake improvement district with a science-based boundary and governance flexibility to responsive future needs is a smart and necessary move. We have the chance to protect property, strengthen local economies, and restore a resource that should be a centerpiece of pride and vitality, and I urge you to support this effort wholeheartedly. Thank you.
Thank you, William.
Good morning. My name's Mark Roney, and I'm representing Deer Lake. I live on Deer Lake with my wife Sharon, and I've been doing water clarity readings for the last 5 years on buffalo, deer, and goose lakes. And while I'm doing those water clarity readings the last 5 years, I'm realized that it's a system-wide problem. Not one lake association can do it. And they're all connected. If the water level goes up, it affects everybody. If it gets, one lake gets contaminated or whatever, it flows to the next. So it's a system-wide, as he said. And so it just seems that we have to look at it that way, where in the past, people would look at their lake and think about it, but really not be able to do much about it. So it will take all of us. It will take all different groups to do this, to work together. And there's a lot of literature out there. There's a lot of information out there that we can use. Buffalo Lake has been studied for years, providing a wealth of information to draw from. And there have already been at least 64 lakes in Minnesota that have been restored and taken off the impaired list. We can benefit from their experience in our quest for clean and sustain our lakes. Thank you very much for your time and consideration on this important project. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Would anyone else like to testify for it? Yes, absolutely.
So one of the things that...
And what was your name again?
Sorry, my name is Mark Hegstrom. I live on Buffalo Lake.
Yep.
One of the things that I think is important for everybody to understand. Now, mink, deer, et cetera, smaller lakes, smaller use. Buffalo, large lake, lots of use. Many of the users are not Buffalo residents. Many are not people who live on the lake. So looking at it from an improvement standpoint, looking at it from a standpoint of if you dirty it, so forth, that perhaps, and I don't know the extent of this, who's going to get behind this, but perhaps not only the county, but the state needs to be involved because it really is at least a 7-county problem because we get people coming out from Minneapolis all the time, okay? So it's really a user-based issue from that standpoint. So if we're looking at funding, we need to consider where the users come from. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to testify for the record?
Good morning. Russell Graham. I live on Bice Avenue in Marysville Township. I'm on Deer Lake. And not to contradict you, Mark, but it was interesting. I had a conversation with a Wright County official in the offices here. And they said, well, nobody goes on Deer Lake, but you, me, the residents of Deer Lake, and there aren't too many people there. Well, we have 18. We have 18 residents on that lake. It's a small lake, 180 acres. Goose Lake, I'm representing them also. We were just doing an estimate, Mark and I over there. We think there's about 8 residents on there. We have a farmland on there too that takes up the majority of the lake. What's happening now, you know, there's a channel that goes through Deer Lake and Buffalo Lake. I don't know if it's because of the weeds in Buffalo Lake, but we're getting more and more recreational fishing usage in our lake. This official here said that I'm the only one that goes out there at night. My boat that goes out there at night or in the evening. Our lake, I counted, well, especially this ice fishing here, we had 15 vehicles sitting in the parking lot where the landing is. I don't know how they fit them in there. They all ingeniously did some parking to get in there. And again, it may be the effect of what's going on at Buffalo Lake, but even during the summer months, up until about June, July, we have recreational boats that come in. Skiers, we have jet skiers, none from this area, not many from this area, as far as the area of the lakes that we're talking about. The impact is not happening as much as it is in Buffalo, in Deer Lake right now. We're downstream from the Pulaski, Buffalo, and Deer gets it. But we'll also, when that backwaters come up from the Crow Lake, we see the flooding going up and down, up and down. Now, I know there's I don't know if it's a proposal, but there was talk about replacing that bridge on Deer Lake. I think that's an opportunity that we could take a look at to get some filtration there and also improving on the landing area. Don't know that whole process there. I know there's something in the works with Wright County. I just want to make this, I'm trying to make this short, sorry. But I'm, not one to sit and just watch, for the number of houses, 16 houses on Deer Lake, the residents there are all on board with this LID. Buffalo Lake came and introduced this to us first. We're a small lake, and Goose Lake, we have to talk about that. We really, all those people were for it also. I think they had a lot of signatures there. We're talking about taxation. Don't want my taxes to go up. They go up every year. But if there's a purpose for taxation, I could see some impact on it that is happening. I'm one. I wouldn't mind paying. But if I don't have to, I don't want to. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Russell. Good morning, David.
Good morning, commissioners. So I'm David Kelly. I'm the Community Development Director for the City of Buffalo. Don't have a lot to add. We don't have an official stance on whether a lid should be created or should it not be created. I just wanted to add to the record that we recognize the concerns that residents have shared about phosphorus, and we have a lot of studies that we're undertaking here at the city as well. And we just stand ready to partner with whatever organization that's created, whether it be the LID or if it's with the association that's currently there, efforts with other lakes in the area. We recognize the concern and we're happy to help there. So that's all I had. Just wanted to add that to the record.
Thank you.
Thank you, David.
Yeah, thank you.
Would anyone else like to comment for the record?
Morning, Alicia.
Good morning, Alicia.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the board. Alicia O'Hare, Wright Soil and Water Conservation District. Similar to the City of Buffalo, we want to offer up our partnership. I think we were mentioned a couple of times in the report. I just want to remind everyone that we are the leaders of the comprehensive watershed-based management plan for the North Fork Crow River, which includes all of these lakes. And that is one of the easiest ways to get grant funding. I will add that that plan will be up for renewal, which we will be working on in the next 2 years to update that plan and bring ahead new priorities. So I encourage lake residents and others to be involved and look out for public engagement opportunities there. I also want to point out that we do assist with the water quality analysis. They bring the samples to our office. It is an invaluable data set. Wright County is amazing for our citizen monitors and everyone who contributes to that. I then do, at the end of the year, I do work up that data for them. So, please utilize us as a resource for that. We'll do site visits too. So if you have a concern about your own property or something, we'll come out and talk to you. There's no charge for that. And if you just want to see what you can do locally, we do that. So please just keep us involved in that program. And then the last thing I do want to say is, it's potentially just because it happened later, but there is no mention of starry stonewort in this report, which was discovered on Buffalo Lake in October. And that's because it's so recent, that could be it. But starry stonewort is a big deal. It was thankfully found very, very early on Buffalo Lake, but there is still a cost associated with making sure that it doesn't get expansive and impact the recreation. So I would encourage residents to include not just the management of curly leaf pondweed, but potentially Eurasian water milfoil and starry stonewort as well. There are funding opportunities both through the county and the state for those. So just a clear path forward for that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to comment for the record? Would anyone else like to comment for the record? I'll ask one last time. Would anyone else like to comment for the record? With no other comments requesting, we'll move the discussion forward here and close the public hearing and bring the discussion up here to the dais. I will note through the many comments made here, it looks like the vast majority of everyone here agrees that there is an issue that needs to be addressed on deer, goose, and Buffalo Lake. I think not everyone, but a lot of them agree that a lid may be that route. I think a few of you made comments that it could maybe be addressed through the Lake Association, but all wholeheartedly agree that something needs to be done. Now, when coming to the lid discussion, I don't necessarily know that everybody's in agreement with how the lid should be done, whether it should be done ad valorem or whether it should be done on a per parcel basis, or as I think one individual noted, which I would be interested in learning how that works, is the basis of, I forget what he called it.
Use of impact.
Use of impact, which very interesting. I'd be the first I've heard of it, but definitely be doing some more research on that. I do want to say that I would agree that something needs to be done. I don't necessarily know that doing it through a lake association that is fairly new in its inception would have the ability to address these magnitude of issues, as well as have the ability to access the funding that would be available to a lid that would not be available to a lake association. So I applaud the individuals in this room that did the hard work and dedication to bringing this forward to us today. I'm going to turn it over to board members if you have some comments.
Yes, Mr. Chair, Tina Diedrich here. Buffalo Lake is in my district. I remember as a kid playing at the park and swimming in the water a long time ago. We are very fortunate to have these beautiful lakes in our county, and the fact that you're stepping forward to take care of this lake. And I will be working with you. I'm a liaison to the SWCD, work with Alicia, water quality, AIS, and on the One Watershed, One Plan. So I have my cards here. Don't leave. I'm going to go over by the door before you leave, but I'm in full support of you guys stepping up, and you can always adjust after you get your plan in place and work from there. It's 1 year at a time, and you're going to learn stuff every year, and I'll be here to help you.
Is there any other comments? Any other comments from the board? Otherwise, I'll stand for a motion.
I'll make that. Oh, second.
So well, there's multiple motions that can be made. The motion would be to move forward with the creation of the Lake Improvement District, or you could do the denial of the petition to create a Lake Improvement District. There could be move on to continue research for a Lake Improvement
Motion
District.
to approve the lid with the steering committee members appointed as the initial lid board members.
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Moyna, if I could just clarify that, it'd be for staff to present a resolution to that extent.
Yep.
Okay.
I'll second that.
All right. We have a motion by Commissioner Moyna, second by Commissioner Holland, to direct staff to come forward with a future board meeting with the resolution stating the creation of a lake improvement district for the lakes of Buffalo, Goose, and Deer Lake. Is there any discussion? In Mink, I'm sorry, in Mink, yes. Is there any other discussion?
Mr. Chair, I would just note that staff will work with legal on this. I believe the rules give us up to 30 days. We'll try to shoot for February 3rd with the resolution, but if things get delayed in drafting, it could be as late as February 17th, which would still be within the 30-day time period.
All right. So those in the room will see some action, more formal action on either February 3rd or February 17th. If there's no other discussion on this matter, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimous. Thank you. And with that, we have one last item to attend to on today's county board meeting, which is a public hearing for the transfer of property from Independent School District 885 to Independent School District 882, which is a rarity of an occurrence, but nonetheless, it does happen, and we are looking to transfer a 40-acre parcel from St. Michael School District to Monticello School District. Is there anyone here that wishes to comment to the public record for the public hearing on this transfer of property to school districts? Please step forward at this time, state your name for the record, and your city of residency. Would anyone like to comment? Would anyone like to comment? Would anyone like to comment? Hearing no comments at this time, I will bring the matter up to the dais for discussion. Board members, having given all the information, do you have any questions or?
Well, this is pretty cut and dry. It's a very, very slim piece of property, as you know, the Holkers have, and they just want to clean this up. And so I'm in full support. Both districts are in favor, so
Yes.
It is an easy one.
Yes, this is a non-contentious
Yeah.
item. So with that, I will stand for a motion to adopt resolution, resolution
26-9.
26-9.
So moved.
I'll
Second.
second.
All right, motion by Commissioner Moyna, second by Commissioner Holland. Any discussion? Hearing none. Resolution vote. Commissioner Moyna.
Aye.
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 That motion passes for,
4-0-0-0-1.
Yep. 4-0.
I don't know
All right.
how we mark it as not here.
All right. With that, if there's no other business before the county board at this time, we will adjourn the Wright County Board meeting of January 20th at 10:15 a.m. Thank you.